And one thing also is that when we look away from some of these weaknesses and try to see, the great things and the beautiful things, I think it now becomes easier for you to let go of those areas of weaknesses, and why you also expect that change will eventually come.
And of course, it has happened in these 18 years.
Correct.
It has happened. Mrs. Karim, do you always admit you're wrong when your husband says, or when your husband points out something he doesn't like or you have done that hurt him? Do you admit to being wrong?
Yes, partially. Because at times I want to prove him that, no, you said this, you said that. But eventually, before admitting, I must have made my own point clear to him that you this and this and this, and eventually I will just admit, but it's not that I just admit it straight like that without saying my own.
I can really see the fighter. So you must have your say before you now say, okay, I'm sorry.
No, I will say my own, so I'm putting him to this things and this and that, this and that. Then eventually I will just, okay, maybe I'm sorry.
Maybe.
And I think having your say is something that should be encouraged.
Okay.
Having your say does not mean having your way.
Yeah.
But at least
Yes.
once you have
Express myself.
yourself, you can easily move on.
Yes.
Than for you to be cowed in and for you to,
to be suppressed.
Yes. So having your say, once we are able to do it in the best of ways, it helps the relationship and makes forgiveness come easier.
Assuming your wife does not agree, or assuming she did not agree that what you're pointing out to her is a fault, how do you manage that? But to you, you're offended.
Wow. It's when a person, we are different, the way we see things are different, and once we understand this, it enables us to be patient, because when a person is not seeing from your angle, then you most likely cannot make progress. So if you can take time to put it that patience for the person to actually realize that, okay, this is actually what I think my husband or my friend or my son is trying to say. It is at that point that we can actually begin to step back, and begin to make adjustments, haven't seen, what you haven't seen from the angle of the other person. But when you don't see, you don't see because we are different, it becomes difficult for you to actually get past that. So that means that for you that you are actually picking up offense, you must be patient to make it clear that this is actually what is happening. All right. Another thing I would say is that because we are different, what offends you, might be a child's play to the other person.
Yes.
But you cannot say that, is it just this? No, we must respect, one another. We must respect our differences. And when we do that, okay, you find out something that someone is pointing out, you take notice of it and you try to adjust it. Just find out that the problem is no more there. And you're like, wow, these are some of the things we get to learn, especially when we are in this arrangement called marriage.
Yeah, this relationship.
Yes.
Has there been any point in your 18 years of marriage that you have found it difficult to forgive your husband? How was that for you?
Wow. Actually, in those times, God actually helped me. Because at times I'm the type that's, just as he has said, I'm not the gentle type. Me, I want to exercise my... Maybe because I want to exercise my own part to say this and that. But eventually, just what I've said before, that this is a life journey.
Yes.
And since you have entered it, you are not interested in going back out of the marriage again.
Yes.
Especially for some
you
of us
closed
that
the door.
Yes, that we have seen a lot of things maybe from our background.
Yes.
Seeing what has happened there before. We just, since I've entered, let me just take up this thing and move forward. Yeah. Because we don't want to go back to what has happened before. Now in the context of as Christians, that we have been praying, that I don't want all these things to repeat
Manifest,
itself.
yes, in your
if you
own
try
home.
to follow those parts of me, say, I want to be rigid with those things, eventually it won't all go well for both of you. So for us to let go and let God have his way, we have just to pick up and say, so be it.
So be it.
Even though it's not easy.
Yeah.
Even the concept of forgiveness itself is not even actually easy to forgive.
It isn't.
It's not easy.
No.
That's why it's divine and
it
it's
is, truly.
supernatural.
It
It
is.
takes God to help somebody to admit it, because we are actually coming from two different families,
Yes.
two different entities,
Yes.
becoming one.
Yes.
It's not easy. Even
Everything about both of you are
are
different.
different. Even the same sibling, they have quarrel.
Differences, yes.
How much more the person
From different
Yes.
homes, yes.
Family.
Yes, but with the help of God, that we have accepted, we have taken the vow that for better, for worse,
Yeah,
I will
for
stay
better,
there.
for worse.
So
For better,
God has
for
been
worse.
helping us.
Wow.
Although it's not easy.
It's not easy. So how long did it take you exactly to forgive that offense?
Yes, let me actually give an example. I
Okay.
remember we just got married. Something happened. I just made on I'm not going to sleep with him again. So we
When
have
you say sleep with him, that means in the same room.
in the same room.
Okay.
And we had the boy then, our first son. So I just go to the other and say, no, I'm not going to stay with this man.
And we have spare rooms there.
And we have spare rooms. So I have to move to other room just to avoid him. When he comes back, I just say, welcome. And that's now, your food is in the kitchen. Until one day, just say, you are not going to sleep in this room today. You are coming to that house. But this is what we have done. And we resolve everything and we move forward. But at that time, just to put him wrong that, no, I have to take my stand until you come back. Even though I was in that room, as I was there, I was just, Lord, just touch him to come and beg me.
You're asking God to touch him to come and beg
Come and
you.
beg me because I don't want to beg him.
Wow.
But eventually God answered and he came. So I apologize.
Okay, so Mr. Karim, we have heard this very familiar saying, forgive and forget. Is it very easy to do that? Can you actually forget? Because I know if I ask Mrs., she has remembered something now in the early years of your marriage. She
Yes.
didn't forget.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, forgiveness, like we have said, is divine. And it comes with its pains, it comes with its struggles. But as long as we are willing and open to do what God has commanded us to do, which is to forgive one another, we get better. As to forgetting, the whole idea of forgetting is not for the memory to be wiped off, per se. But it actually means that for you to have actually released, you have released the person, you have been released from the hurt, so that when you now remember, that event or that instance, there's no longer hurt
there's no
in you.
hurt, there's no pain, there's no
God,
resentment.
when God says he has forgiven our sin, it does not mean that God cannot remember. He just chooses not to dwell on it. And it will now have an effect of as if it never happened. Okay, so for us to, when we say we should forgive and forget, my understanding is that it's not that your memory is being wiped clean of that very, very issue, of that very act, but that because you are forgiven, because God has helped you, because you have healed, even when you remember or you have a reason to recall that, it doesn't bring any sentiments or any bitterness, along with it.
All right, so that's interesting. That's quite interesting, actually, that forgiveness is divine. I hope you are ready to open up and forgive those past thoughts and pains that you're carrying around as baggage over the years. Don't go away. We'll go into deeper levels of this topic when we come back after the break.